Hello friends, welcome back to Wings of Education. Now we are going to start the new lesson from the book Moments, that is The Happy Prince by Oscar Wilde. First we can look the summary of the lesson The Happy Prince. The statue was covered with thin leaves of gold. He had sapphires for his eyes and a ruby in his sword. The Happy Prince was a beautiful statue. One day a little swallow stayed between the feet of the Happy Prince. A large drop of water fell on the swallow when he got ready to go to sleep. The swallow learned that these were the tears falling from the Happy Prince's eyes. The Happy Prince told him about the misery around him. The swallow made up his mind to stay there. The Happy Prince gave a ruby for a poor seamstress. He gave a sapphire for a playwright and another sapphire for a match girl. The swallow carried out the prince's wishes. He also plucked out the gold leaves from the statue and gave it to the poor. He decided to go to Egypt as desired by the Happy Prince. The bird said that he was leaving for the house of death, and he fell down dead at the prince's feet. Just then Prince's leaden heart cracked in two parts because of hard frost. The next morning the mayor ordered it to be taken down and melted in a furnace. The broken lead heart, however, did not melt, so it was thrown on a heap of dust. The dead bird was also lying there. In heaven, God asked one of the angels to bring him two most precious things from the city. The angel carried away the broken heart and the dead bird. Line by line explanation. High above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes he had two bright sapphires and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. The statue of a prince stood on a high platform overlooking the city. This prince was called a Happy Prince because when he was alive he always remained very happy. Upon his death, a big statue of his was erected in the center of the city in his remembrance. The statue of this Happy Prince was covered with thin layers of gold, and instead of eyeballs, there were two bright shining sapphire stones. In the handle of his sword, a bright ruby stone was placed. One night there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt 6 weeks before, but he had stayed behind. Then he decided to go to Egypt too. We know that swallow is a tiny bird. Although it is not a human being, still the writer is referring to it as he and his. He says that all the friends of this swallow had flown away to Egypt 6 weeks ago. This bird did not go with them, but later it thought of going to Egypt to his friends, so it was on its way to Egypt. Next paragraph. All day long he flew, and at night time he arrived at the city. "Where shall I put up?" he said. "I hope the town has made preparations." Put up means where to live for the night. This bird kept on flying on its way to Egypt, and at night it reached the city of the Happy Prince. It wanted to stay somewhere for the night. It thinks upon where to stay at night. The bird says that hopefully the city has made some arrangements for it to stay. Obviously, the bird does not mean what it is saying. We can say that probably the bird is being humorous. Next. Then he saw the statue on the tall column. "I will put up there," he cried. "It is a fine position with plenty of fresh air." So he alighted just between the feet of the happy prince. Here, alighted means descended. Now, when this tiny bird saw this huge statue of the happy prince, it thought of staying there for the night. So, the bird thought that it was a good place to spend the night. There was shelter and a lot of fresh air. So, the bird came and alighted. It stopped and sat in between the feet of the statue of the happy prince. Next, I have a golden bedroom, he said softly to himself as he looked round and he prepared to go to sleep. But just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large drop of water fell on him. What a curious thing, he cried. There is not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining. Then another drop fell. The word curious means strange. When the bird sat in between the feet of the happy prince, it was surrounded with gold. So it thought that it had a bedroom made of gold because it was surrounded by gold all around. As it was about to sleep, as it was putting its head under the wing, suddenly a large drop of water fell on it. The bird was surprised because all of a sudden a drop of water fell on it. It thought that neither was it raining nor the rainy season was going on. The swallow could not believe this because the sky was not cloudy and stars were shining. Just then another drop of water fell on it. That's all, friends. I hope you liked today's video. Please do subscribe, like and share.